isn't just bad news for companies like Disney. It is bad news for Hollywood in general, because what they are learning is that Gen Z does not care about Hollywood. Gen Z does not care about the traditional celebrity. And I think that's become more and more apparent as time has gone on, as we spend more time on our phones, more time with content creators, as that's what we're taking.
Hey, did you get
we have
this
people
$20 one from Pop Culture Junkie?
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. So as we spend more time with content creators, all of that stuff, people have developed personal relationships with the people online that make them feel more connected to them than they ever did to somebody who feels outside of, you know, the normal realm of society like your average actor does. There was this article from The Hollywood Reporter. It says, let me put it here. In a warning sign for Hollywood, young consumers are choosing content creators over premium TV and movies. And that is a bad sign when going to the theaters costs as much as it does right now. So this was the key takeaway. 56% of Gen Z and 43% of millennials surveyed said that the media content that they create, that social media content is more relevant than traditional TV shows and movies. And roughly half feel a stronger personal connection to a social media creator than to TV personalities or actors.
There's two.
Yep, I got these right here. So from Pop Culture Junkie, says, my Disney source says that due to the Snow White disaster, there are 3 unannounced films in development based on existing IP that have been shit canned or radically modified. Also, their titles will likely be changed.
Calling it one of them Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean,
what was it going to be? They were going to take the movie. They were going to take Black Beauty and then Sleeping Beauty, and they were going to put them together.
See, I like that, but I'm envisioning it as it is still the horse.
Yes.
Like, it's not a race.
Yeah,
swap.
that's what I'm saying.
Horse.
That's
the
way
horse
more
is
fun.
the princess.
And $20 from Moonlight. From Moonlight. Phil. Brett, please make Corn Pop in the chat go away. He freaks everyone out. Look, everybody's got a weird uncle or friend that just hangs out, and sometimes you can't do anything about it.
I have been watching this go down the entire show. It's extremely entertaining from the outside.
Incredible.
Okay. Yeah.
No, from the inside.
What?
You're on the inside watching what's happening at the outside.
Don't do this to me right now.
Where were we, ladies and gentlemen? So this was a survey.
People hate Hollywood.
Yeah.
This was a survey that they ran, and look, these surveys are a dime a dozen, and they run these all the time. It's how a lot of these companies try to build their analytics up to figure out where things are going. It's why you're starting to see content creators like Mr. Beast on Amazon Prime with large-scale deals that they invest hundreds of millions of dollars in to create these shows. But this says, with Gen Z, they spend 54% more of their time. Think of it as 50 minutes a day on average more on social media platforms, and they spend about 43 minutes a day less in traditional TV and movie. So when you just think about it in that context, in the context of where they're spending their time, are they using both service types? Thank you, guys. Yes, but they are spending more time on social media platforms. Hello.
I knew it was coming soon.
Nobody's dancing. That's so sad. There we go. Mary will be very happy. Phil never dances. Phil never dances for this song in particular. So, look, they're spending more time with social media creators. And it's funny because I think of the millennial trope of being like, I don't go out, I don't do anything. I sit home and I drink wine and watch Netflix. But even that's kind of changing now. And people develop more of a connection to people on social media. And I don't even really know necessarily why, other than the fact that the content is so much more personal from person to person. Like, I don't look at somebody like a Kai Cenat or a Mr. Beast or an iShowSpeed and think of them as like just like me. Like, I don't because I imagine when people think of the idea of connecting with the social media creator, they think of it as like they're not disconnected from reality like celebrities are. But it's not like the average really, really successful content creator is a lot like you or me either.
I would say, see, the thing is, I don't think those are the people they're probably talking about.
Agreed.
They're probably talking about people like Wendigoon and Charlie and the Unsub guys who are just dudes, you know, where they just make a few videos every month and it feels like you're just hanging out with one of your buddies. Yeah. Like, you know, with Wendigoon, it's kind of like one of your buddies went on an autism rabbit hole and learned everything about a subject and is now explaining it to you. Yeah. The Unsub guys, it's like you're sitting there having a beer with them even though they're on your screen. And I've sat there and had a beer with them, and it feels very much the same as just watching them.
They're the same people on as off camera.
It's very genuine.
Then I
agree more.
got a question for you. So if Hollywood is to take this to heart and they're looking at these numbers and they're saying, look, Gen Z isn't connecting with us. Millennials are increasingly not connecting with us. How do we continue with our traditional model, meaning like they still have to make these big budget movies. They still have to release them in theaters. They still have to hire actors. How do they bridge the gap?
Stop trying to connect with us.
Also, yeah, I was going to say, don't change a thing. Keep making movies. Keep making movies with good actors and good stories. Maybe make fewer, better. That's it. Because if you try and change your model to be more like social media, it's going to be a too little too late version of what already exists. So just keep refining what you're already doing, because no one will ever permanently leave movies behind and television behind.
Every single new movie that's not a Top Gun Maverick kind of movie feels like it was made for YouTube 10 years ago. It feels like somebody made a serious version of a College Humor skit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to put it into words. It's just
like there's no gravitas.
Like it feels low effort. It feels like they're trying to emulate what was popular on YouTube in the 2010s. But that's not why I go see a movie. I go see a movie because I want to see like a grand epic story, or I want to see something that somebody like me can't pull off. Because I've got a channel, I've got an audience.
Yeah.
I can't make Kingdom of Heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the Bronze Age of Hollywood right now, because it very much feels like it's the late 60s to early 70s right now in Hollywood, where the old studio system is struggling to figure out what to do. And right now they're looking to social media as what Spielberg, Lucas, Coppola, Scorsese, all of them were at that time. The problem is that in my opinion, what you should take away from what's happening right now is let the small independent stories be told by the small independent people, because they're going to be better at doing it, and they're going to get more of a connection from the audience like you're talking about. Yeah. The reason why people watch social media is there's one channel I watch. Her name is Angela Collier, I think it is. Okay. No production value at all. It's her talking to a webcam, but she is a PhD physicist, theoretical physicist, and she just talks about different things within the field because she is an expert in that field. You get a window into a world that you're not a part of. Yeah, one of
the hardest things for movies and television is like you have to bring in people that are just as passionate, or they have to be the showrunner. Suits was run by a guy named Aaron Korsh, who was a lawyer. But there's certain types of movies that, outside of bringing in like high level people from, like if you're going to make a spy story, you have to bring in somebody who used to be in the government to help do like notes on that. But they don't always listen. They don't always pay attention and take inspiration from those notes. And a lot of times the authenticity that you're looking for, they might see it as a barrier to creating a great visual media, like a great visual story.
Also, I feel like every movie nowadays tries to teach you some moral lesson, like all the big ones. And what moral lesson was Pirates of the Caribbean teaching me? Like that was just a fun. I know there were morals.
I was going to say there were definitely
save the rum.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's definitely like little things here and there, but they're naturally occurring. It's like as they were writing the movie, they were like, this is a good spot to present this message. Nowadays, it's like, hey, I'm going to make a movie to tell you this. Yeah. It's like, no, make the movie and then insert the stuff into it. Because as I go back and I watch like older TV shows, and I'm not talking about 80s, I'm talking about 2010s, 2000s.
2000s, 2010s.
You watch stuff and it's, there's moments where you can tell that there's some sort of political or moral or religious message being presented to you, but it's just in the script. Yeah. It's not the entire point of the movie.
It's one of the hardest things to try to explain to somebody who doesn't pay attention to what's going on. I was explaining this to you before the show because Olivia was trying to get me to watch FBI, and they did this episode with Sovereign Citizens, which was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I almost walked out of the window. It was that bad, and maybe no area of Hollywood has suffered more from moralizing than network television, which used to be one of the bastions of great storytelling because they had to do 22 episodes a year and find a way to make all of them interesting. Even the filler in old X-Files episodes is 10,000 times better than most of the stuff that's coming out now. I'm watching two things right now. I'm watching a Buffy the Vampire Slayer retrospective that's almost 4 hours long, and I'm watching this channel. It's like JB's Spooky Channel, where he does like 15-minute reviews of old X-Files episodes, and every single one of those episodes is 1,000% better than anything that's coming out right now. And to the point was Olivia was watching this episode about sovereign citizens, and I was like, here, watch this episode of Criminal Minds where they deal with a militia in Montana, and somehow they were able to tell a more coherent story. They were able to acknowledge that there were failings from everyone, including the government. They point out, they have the character of Rossi acknowledge the failings of the FBI at both Waco and Ruby Ridge, talking about the government's distrust of it. And as caricature-ish as the characters could have come across, they never portray those characters as not having a legitimate gripe with the government. And at the end, they even do a one-up by using one of these militia characters as they don't have a sharpshooter to stand on this ridge, so they have to actually work with them, despite the fact that the local police don't trust them. And then I go and I watch this episode of FBI where it's just these people shouting slogans in the most ridiculous way possible. All of the FBI characters talk down to them as if they're buffoons. There's no layers, there's no nuance to any of this. And this is at what some might call the lowest form of storytelling, which is just your basic 22 episode network television show. It's not the stuff that wins Emmys. It's not the stuff that gets the attention of the trades. It's the stuff that nobody cares about.
Does winning Emmys really mean anything nowadays?
I mean, it does to them in the industry.
Well, but does that is winning an Emmy actually a signal of quality? Is what I'm saying.
There's enough examples of shows that never won where you're like, how have they not won? That you would say no, it probably doesn't. But the point of it is like when people even think of good television, this isn't the stuff they think of. They think of stuff that's going on HBO or stuff that's going on Netflix now or streaming services. They're about to do another Dexter revival. Like they're bringing Dexter back, which I don't care about because I started rewatching the original Dexter because the first 3 seasons of Dexter are some of the best television you'll ever see. You're never going to see that again in the same context. You're not. That was also partially because it was shot on film and it just was better.
Yeah, well, that was Showtime too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Showtime.
Yeah. I think, well, we just had a conversation about this like 3 days ago, where I think one of the biggest issues about what's happening right now in relation to comparison, which I agree with you, I consider, primetime television of the mid 2000s to early 2010s kind of the golden age of, daytime or primetime television. It's that before streaming really took over, the cable company or the cable networks had essentially a monopoly on good series programming. Then the thing is they had a perfect storm. They had the amount of money, the amount of talent, and the limits on talent and timing that they were able to really dedicate all the time and talent they could to these few specific shows. Now, granted, there were still a lot of shows on television. Cable had a lot of channels, but now there's so much going on.
There aren't enough truly talented writers, directors, cinematographers, and top-level actors. We were talking before the show about like when I got to meet Mark Pellegrino here. Yeah. And the point is that people think of him as Lucifer, but you don't think of him as the lead of anything. He's just the guy who stands out in every guest appearance that he does. There's only so many of those that can truly capture the essence of a character, but just for like 1 or 2 episodes. Now they've got to do that amongst 30 streaming series, a bunch of network stuff, and there just isn't the ability there. So I guess to pull it back a little bit, if there was a way that you can think of for them to help actors connect with like fans the way that content creators do, would it be, because I saw this today and I should have brought this up earlier. I thought this was really funny. You guys will laugh at this. Leonardo DiCaprio has launched his own YouTube channel.
Oh, no. God.
So
that's exactly the opposite of what they should do.
Yeah,
right?
I was just going to say, the last thing they should do is have the actors connect. It should just do good work.
His first video says,
if he's like, oh, I really like cooking and it's my hobby, and I do a cooking YouTube channel, fine. Yeah. You're a normal person. You got a hobby. You want to put it on YouTube. More power to you. Awesome.
That's what Alan Richardson does with his. He has a Bible channel.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is perfectly fine because it's not like, hey, I'm trying to promote my new movie.
It's literally a trailer. That's the
see, that kind of stuff that's just But like, if you're like, look, I like gardening and I make a show about I like to film YouTube videos about my garden and when I'm putting in like that kind of stuff, that's awesome. That's super cool. You're still a human being doing human being things like having a YouTube channel or like doing doing hobbies. That's something that just because you're famous doesn't mean you should be like excluded from normal human being things. But if Leo DiCaprio has started a YouTube channel so that way he can promote his movies, it's like, bro, the studio will handle it.
What if he turns it into a dating channel, like a dating show?
I figured it was just going to be climate lectures.
Of all people,
Yeah.
Leo shouldn't do that.
He could do it's called 25 and Under.
Yeah.
The Leonardo
Just
DiCaprio
because, I mean,
dating
look,
show.
he can date who he wants, but the heat that's going to generate is just...
Yeah.
Ooh, no. It's a dating show, but it's also a game show that takes place in Antarctica, and it's called 25 Below.
Yes.
Incredible.
So you can lecture climate and lecture whoever he doesn't
All right,
date.
I hate all this.
What's he going to do? Sit on his yacht and see which one can swim to it the first? Like, no, I think you should do cooking. Join Stanley Tucci on his TikTok channel. And just like, they'll make very nice dishes together. I think that's the way they need to do it.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.